This is Mac OS Ken.
iPhone owned December, regulatory rumbling in the distance, and so much Apple Car. It's Friday, the 8th of January, 2020. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Audible Plus. Content that entertains, inspires, and informs. Visit audible.com/macosken or text macosken to 500-500 to start your free 30-day trial. This show is also sponsored by Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. Modern times, am I right? You don't have to wear pants, you don't have to commute, and you don't have to work hard to eat well. Not with Sunbasket's fresh and ready meals. Every Sunbasket meal is filled with only premium quality real food, including organic fresh produce, antibiotic and hormone-free meats, and sustainably sourced seafood from suppliers they know and trust. Now, their fresh and ready meals are great because they're fresh and they're ready. Ready for the oven or the microwave, which means they could be on your table in as little as 6 minutes. Meals like beef chili with cheddar and Greek yogurt, creamy mushroom penne with baby spinach and almonds, or butter chicken with basmati rice pilaf, which I absolutely loved. And here's something else to love. Fresh and ready meals are just $8.99, so they're good for your body and your budget. And you can try them for less. Right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken at checkout for $35 off your order. sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken. And a big thanks to Sunbasket for sponsoring today's show. Market tracker Flurry Analytics says iPhone owned December. Not hugely surprising. Apple did release new iPhones in October and November. There were major gift-giving holidays in December, and Flurry already said last month that 9 of the top 10 phones activated on Christmas Day in the U.S. were iPhones. Now a piece from Apple Insider says Flurry released a new report on Thursday. For the full month, only 8 of the top 10 phones activated in the U.S. were iPhones. Running down the top 10, it was iPhone 11, iPhone 12 Pro Max, iPhone 12 and 3rd, iPhone XR, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone SE, iPhone 11 Pro Max. LG Stylo 6 took number 8, iPhone 8 Plus took number 9, and Samsung Galaxy A11 rounded out the top 10. Despite capturing 80% of the list, iPhone activations took less than half of U.S. activations in December. They got 46% of smartphone activations, followed by Samsung with 27%, and third place LG with 9%. That 18% outstanding still points to a nutty number of also-rans in the smartphone space. As might be expected in #these uncertain times, overall spending on smartphones was down in December. According to the piece, consumer purchasing behavior appears consistent year over year. Activations elevated in December, peaked on Christmas Day, and remained high through New Year's Day. However, the total number of activations was down 20% compared to December 2019. So says Counterpoint. Now, you know how Tim Cook said years ago that reading the supply chain was an iffy endeavor at best? He was not kidding. At the same time, Flurry says smartphone sales were down 20% last month. 2 companies in the iPhone supply chain hit record December numbers, with credit going to iPhone. We heard earlier this week that Foxconn set a December sales record thanks to iPhone 12 demand. Now iMore says demand for iPhone 12 drove record revenue for processor maker TSMC last month. According to iMore, the news reflects numerous reports in recent months stating that the demand for iPhone 12 has surpassed everyone's expectations. Apple has reportedly had to shift production from its iPad to the iPhone in order to keep up with demand, and reports state it plans to increase iPhone production by as much as 30% in 2021. Wouldn't you think that would mean that sales were better, not worse? Well, there you go, I say to myself, trying to read the supply chain. While TSMC saw record revenue last month, it still managed to miss analyst expectations. Maybe that's because of irrational exuberance on the part of those analysts, or maybe there was some kind of kink in the chain. Nothing kinky. It's also possible that iPhone 12 simply costs more to make, so even if sales were down, and we don't know that they were, but even if sales were down, if the phones cost more to make, revenue for suppliers could still go up. I'm not making up that idea, by the way. The idea that iPhone 12 costs more to make. Word from Counterpoint Research, by way of Cult of Mac, is that Apple's latest line costs at least 21% more to manufacture than the iPhone 11. Breaking that business down, Counterpoint says in the iPhone 12, Apple's self-designed components, including the A14 Bionic, power management integrated circuits, audio, and ultra-wideband chip, make up over 16.7% of the overall bill of materials cost. The shift from LCD to OLED in the iPhone 12 is a big jump, resulting in an over $23 cost increase. Cost increases are also driven by 5G-related components, with components like 5G modem, transceiver, and RF front-end system collectively contributing a $34 increase. Producing a 128GB iPhone 12mm wave smartphone will cost Apple up to $431, 26% higher compared to the iPhone 11. That's Counterpoint's guesstimate anyway. Whether these prices are accurate isn't wholly clear, according to the cult. News of strange readings on Apple Watch, caused, it seems, by strange weather. Mac Rumors highlights a report from iPhoneticker.de. According to that, Apple's wearable may give inaccurate altitude readings in unusual weather conditions. Apple's latest watches, Apple Watch SE and Apple Watch 6, feature an always-on altimeter for real-time elevation information. While it's supposed to be accurate to within 1 foot, thanks to cross-references of information from GPS and nearby Wi-Fi networks, Volks in Germany say when the weather goes weird, so do their altitude readings. Like 200 to 300 meters weird. According to the report, users on Apple's German support forums found that a period of low air pressure was causing the Apple Watch's altimeter to give incorrect altitude readings. The piece says recalibrating the altimeter would fix the issue, but Apple doesn't allow manual recalibration, and it's unclear how often the altimeter recalibrates on its own. Frustrating that it doesn't always work the way it's supposed to, but it may not be a huge deal. Mac Rumors goes on to say affected users should still receive correct information when tracking a workout, such as a hike, since the Apple Watch records altitude relative to the starting point. The piece does not say whether Apple has acknowledged this issue. A bit more regulatory thunder in the distance for Apple. CNBC says 2 Democratic members of the Federal Trade Commission have taken a shot at Apple and Google in a ruling around a mobile ad firm. According to the report, the Federal Trade Commission said Thursday it has settled with mobile advertising company Tapjoy over claims it used false advertising offers for the promise of in-game rewards that weren't given. What does that have to do with Apple and Google? Apparently, if they didn't charge the commissions they charge, developers wouldn't have to use nefarious practices like the ones employed by Tapjoy. I'm not kidding. According to the report, Democratic Commissioners Rohit Chopra and Rebecca Kelly Slaughter said in a statement they sought to address the conduct of Tapjoy against a backdrop of massive growth of the mobile gaming market. While they do note that Tapjoy did what it did and didn't do much to fix it after thousands of customer complaints, they say Tapjoy was a minnow next to the gatekeeping giants of mobile gaming industry, Apple and Google. Quoting the commissioners, by controlling the dominant app stores, these firms enjoy vast power to impose taxes and regulations on the mobile gaming industry, which was generating nearly $70 billion annually even before the pandemic. The commissioners went on to say by offering a platform connecting advertisers, gamers, and game developers, Tapjoy allows these developers to generate advertising revenue that Apple and Google do not tax. But this monetization model also creates opportunities for fraud. While the ruling against Tapjoy was 5-0, with 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats ruling unanimously, the 3 Republicans were not part of the statement targeting Apple and Google as gatekeepers. Regulatory thunder in the distance. More news in a moment. But first, a word from Audible, the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. Have you checked out Audible Plus yet? Audible Plus gives you access to thousands and thousands of select Audible originals, audiobooks, and podcasts, including ad-free versions of popular shows, as well as exclusive series. You put the app on your phone or tablet, then browse by genre, by mood, by most popular listens, or search for a topic that you're into. I told you about titles I like this week, like Mindfulness in Plain English, Animal Farm, Roots. I'm curious what titles will turn you on. Listen while you work out, and maybe the best part, you can start listening for free. Visit audible.com/macosken or text macosken to 500-500 to start your free 30-day trial. Whether you're looking to strengthen skills, be more informed, or just be entertained, Audible Plus has tons of titles for you. Visit audible.com/macosken or text macosken to 500-500 to start your free 30-day trial. And a huge thanks to Audible for sponsoring today's show. We will spend the rest of today's show behind the imaginary wheel of Apple's imaginary car. It was a surprisingly big day for Apple's horseless carriage. Early on, Apple Insider highlighted a Bloomberg report saying Apple Car is 5 to 7 years away, assuming it ever happens. According to the report, according to Apple Insider, Apple has a small team of hardware engineers working on a physical car, including staffers developing drive systems, vehicle interiors, and external car body designs. The goal is to eventually ship a vehicle. That conclusion differs from past reports suggesting that Apple was solely focused on autonomous systems. And that 5 to 7 years time frame differs from a recent Reuters report that said Apple was looking to start rolling cars off the line as soon as 2024. Of course, Bloomberg did include the usual caveat that Apple could scrap the whole actual car thing and take a different turn. Conflicting reports around Apple Car are not surprising. I think they started the day after we first heard the term Project Titan 6 or 7 years ago. Surprising was when one car maker said it was in early talks with Apple to develop a car. CNBC had Hyundai Motor saying that on Thursday, sending its own shares up 19% in the process. Allow me to present 3 short paragraphs from the CNBC piece. We understand that Apple is in discussion with a variety of global automakers, including Hyundai Motor. As the discussion is at its early stage, nothing has been decided. A representative from Hyundai Motor told CNBC's Cherry Kang. The statement followed a local report from the Korea Economic Daily that said Apple suggested the tie-up and Hyundai Motor was reviewing the terms. The report said both electric vehicle production as well as battery development were included in the proposal and that the car could potentially be released in 2027. Hyundai later released an updated statement that avoided the mention of Apple and said, "We've been receiving requests of potential cooperation from diverse companies regarding development of autonomous driving electric vehicles, but no decisions have been made as discussions are in early stage." Surprising no one, Apple declined to comment for the CNBC piece. And finally today, coincidentally it seems, Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty was on a call with clients on Thursday talking over the whole Apple Car thing. Apple Insider wrote up that call. Among her points, she seems to think that Apple will go it alone. It is worth noting her call with investors hit well before the Hyundai story. Quoting the analyst, Apple really only succeeds when it's vertically integrated. This means designing the components and designing every part of the product, how it looks and feels to the consumer, the software, and the ecosystem that surrounds those products. It'll be interesting to see whether the car talk out of South Korea will sway her opinion. Her next point, Apple Car won't be late. While some say Apple's streets behind, Huberty pointed out that Apple's almost never first to a category. The car coming out in 4 to 5 years makes sense to the Hube, though she says it's certainly possible they come out a year or two later. Apple does not have to beat Tesla in her estimation. Quoting the report, the question is Tesla BlackBerry or is Tesla Samsung? After the iPhone launch, Samsung was a very successful company alongside Apple for many years, and as the market shifted from feature phones to smartphones, BlackBerry fell to the side, even though they were early in the market, Huberty says. The analyst adds that there is an example where both Tesla and Apple could be successful for many years and help grow the market together. And finally, there is a ton of money to be made in cars. Huberty says smartphones have a total addressable market of $500 billion. The total addressable market for mobility is $10 trillion. The way she sees it, Apple would only need a 2% share of this market to be the size of their iPhone business. So, getting back into the usual swing of things has been difficult this week. You know, between all the shows, the holiday hangover, the attempted coup. I'm getting my footing, but I haven't got it yet. All of that is to say no in a few minutes today. Seriously, should be back to normal by next week. macOS Ken Live is still kicking off though. 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KenRay. Catch it live or on replay there. You can also grab the audio podcast, macOS Ken Live, wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSKen at sunbasket.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Audible Plus. Visit audible.com/macOSKen or text macOSKen to 500 to start your free 30-day trial. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.